Hey guys, how's it going? It's the Crypto Analyst here, and I hope all of you guys are having a good morning, evening, wherever you guys are from. And welcome back to another Bitcoin technical analysis. And in this episode today, I really want to give an update on yesterday's video because there has been a lot of stuff that has changed, new technical analysis that has formed, and we need to make sure that we go over that in today's video. As you guys can probably see, it looks like there is possibly a bull flag forming. I know that I said that this could have been bearish, but this is really just a conflicting area, and I want to make sure I go over that in this video. So if you guys are interested, go and stick around for the video, and do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. But that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into today's video. So there have been just conflicting readings all over the board. This has been a pain to really trade Bitcoin in this area. Ethereum, on the other hand, if you have been trading that, it has just been a dime to trade. So looking at Bitcoin over here, now that we really did the Ethereum video earlier today, looking at Bitcoin, this has been again, just a hard area. It's seemingly forming a bull flag over here with an ascending triangle at the top. It has been constantly getting rejected by resistance. However, despite all this rejection, it is still climbing. It is still forming higher lows when it's really just exhausting the same resistance level. And the more that this is testing it, the weaker that this is going to get. Now, if you guys are on the Patreon, you guys would already know all this information. I mentioned all this there earlier. I actually exited my short because of the fact that this could really go either way. And you know, I was trading on a decent bit of leverage, and when I'm leverage trading something like this, I just do not feel comfortable because of the fact that this could very easily have a deep retrace. I mean, the 236 is all the way down at $3,820, and a breakout towards the upside would most likely lead to around 4,100 to 4,200. So when I'm in a high leverage position here, again, in the decent sized position that I was in, I was not comfortable sitting in this just because of how conflicting this zone is going to read, and we'll explain that through some of these indicators and oscillators down here as well. So you are just getting constantly rejected by this resistance line. However, in getting rejected constantly, you are starting to exhaust it, and with the trend over here and the momentum going in your favor against this line upwards, it would seemingly break out towards the upside. But this is where, again, you're seeing conflicting readings with other things saying that it should have some sort of a pullback here, because in theory it should have some sort of a pullback here, but it's not, and that's what makes me think that it's going to break up towards the upside. Now again, I was shorting this zone. I thought for sure that we'd see at least a 236 or a 382 fib retracement in this area. That it looks like that we're not going to get that. It's still very possible, but just because of the fact that it could go either way here, again, there is such a great bullish case scenario for this right now. I did not feel comfortable in my short anymore, so I did exit that just to be safe. And again, there's plenty of trades to be made in here. This is just not one of them that I want to take. It's not something that I'm willing to take. The risk versus reward ratio on Bitcoin right now for a trade is just simply not worth it. I call this no man's land and a no trade zone, and that's exactly what I'm doing in this area. So when I'm looking at this again, it's still respecting the same trend line over here. It was used as support, then resistance. Now it's getting used as resistance again. And until we break above this, it's going to keep getting used as resistance. It's still in this giant formation patterns over here. It was inside of a channel, broke out, and so the reason why people are looking at 41 and 4200 as a target range, and me especially, is because the fact that these are previous candle highs over in here. Again, 4100 previous high over here, 4200 previous high over here, as well as having this as overbearing resistance from the entirety of really just 2018, 2019 so far. So zooming this back in, I want to go ahead and explain some of the indicators and oscillators because of the fact that this is a very confusing area. So on top of this, guys, with the descending and ascending triangle, what you were seeing over here is basically a double top on your MACD. Your oscillators were still just plowing through, though. Higher high on your oscillators, showing that this was a ton of strength in this bull run. Now that your MACD is seemingly rounding off, and this is actually your 3 hour, I actually need to switch this to a 4 hour. But over here, again, double top nearly on your MACD. Oscillators, same deal. But with your MACD actually coming back down here, from the most part of right now, it doesn't look like it's too strong of being in the negative. So when this MACD is coming back down into a bearish zone, again, really we can move this to a smaller time frame, but I would assume that this thing's rounding off already, and it is. So this is the 2 hour, cut the 4 hour in half, we get the 2 hour, and if the 2 hour is rounding off, there's a good chance that the 4 hour will start rounding off as well. And again, that's what we're most likely going to see over here. So again, the bears just are not present in this zone, which we'll see is, you know, a repeating pattern in the candle chart, but also now in the MACD. Now, when we look at things like the RSI and the stochastic, it starts getting a little bit more confusing because technically on our RSI we were forming consistent higher highs over here. You had one lower high over here just ever so briefly. It did take a dump, but this could just be a reset zone. Now that you're hitting your 70-degree mark, which again is the area in which something becomes overbought, you would most likely bounce in this range. If it doesn't, I would imagine that it keeps falling at least to a more neutral stage before hitting the oversold stage. And that's just what we're looking at over here. So something that I mentioned in the Patreon post, I guess, is that what I'm looking for in this range is that I am looking for essentially just lower highs on your RSI and your stochastics and things like that. And we're starting to see that not so much on the RSI, but more so on the stochastics. And that's what I was noticing over here, is that you did have some of these higher lows. I noticed that this was slowing down and it started taking a toll towards the downside. So technically coming from double overbought over here, again, once overbought, now a higher overbought, coming back down into this oversold territory. And now the same thing with your stochastics, again, higher highs over in this range and still overbought. I would expect this to come back down and have at least some sort of a retrace here, but it's seemingly just not doing that. And that's what's got me so confused about this zone, is the fact that it's holding these levels despite everything saying that it should have some sort of a healthy pullback here. Now, I'm not saying that this should just dump or anything like that. What I'm saying is after such a great run, it should have some sort of a pullback, and that's what I was expecting, and that's what's not, and that is exactly what's not happening yet. And that is why I am getting a little bit confused in this area, and I think it's a hard one to trade in. Thus, I am avoiding it. Now, if this does break down, I do have a lot of targets. Some of them are listed on here. The rest are listed on Patreon. If you guys are in there. But the thing that I'm looking at over here, the biggest thing, is the outlying factor that this is a giant falling wedge, or excuse me, a giant rising wedge. If this were to break down over here, there are a lot of targets, but I would probably say one of the biggest ones is the support of either the falling wedge or of this parallel channel, right? The resistance of this parallel channel over here, or this channel, maybe, you know, maybe it's not a parallel channel, but the fact is this is a channel, and the resistance of this channel is going to be used as support now because it's above it, and I'm looking at that, but I'm also looking at the support of this falling wedge. And those are really two, or I keep saying falling, rising wedge, because if this is a rising wedge and we do see some sort of an action over here where this thing breaks down, then maybe bounces off this, gets rejected by the 236, then comes back down and touches the bottom of the rising wedge, then what would be really cool is for this to actually have one more leg up, hit resistance in this range, which would actually be perfect, because what this would do, this matches right up with our 4100 number, which would also be previous candle body tops to the left, which we've previously talked about, and then this could actually go down over here and break downwards. Now, this is again an ideal zone, a healthy move for Bitcoin if this was going to happen in the future. This is really what I want to happen. I'm not sure if it's going to, but this is, in a perfect world, this is what I would want to see on Bitcoin if it does not simply just break out of this ascending triangle, maybe hit this zone, maybe consolidate, maybe come back down, and then bounce up and hit this 4200 number before getting rejected again. Again, it would be great if excuse me, it would be great if it just keeps breaking resistance. However, it cannot simply do that forever. We do not want it to do that, because if it continues to do that, what we're going to be able to do is do something like 2018, or excuse me, 2017 winter over here, and just create no support for us. We want to be creating support levels as we go up, so we don't have a repeat of what happened over this parabolic run and then just the parabolic breakdown that followed it. We want to be creating support as we go up, and I think that that is one of the most important things when looking and progressing this Bitcoin price action chart. So that's going to go ahead and wrap up this video. If you guys did enjoy, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. With that being said, guys, leave a comment in the comment section below. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this, and I will see you in the next video.